Hi, hopefully this is going to work out okay. And I will admit, this is super duper rushed and last minute, but we're going to get this done because I misunderstood what I was supposed to do. Anyway, so um, hi everyone. We're going to be talking about the web of life from a microbiology perspective. Um, when we say web of life, we're not just being poetic. It's literal. Life on Earth is a network of microbes, and microbes are the threads holding the whole thing together. That's why we start micro um, with this topic, in a sense, in chapter 1. So, what we're talking about when we say microbes, microbiology looks at organisms too small to see with the naked eye, obviously. Unless you have amazing eyes, that would be spectacular. Um, so we're talking about cellular ones like bacteria, archaea, fungi, protozoans, plus acellular like viruses and prions, um, which I think prions are super fascinating to me. But anyway, the point is they reproduce fast, they're everywhere, and they drive the processes that bigger organisms depend on. That's kind of the key takeaway here. So, how microbes have built the web, or the foundation of the web. If you time travel back to early Earth, the first cells were anaerobic and they didn't make oxygen. Later, they evolved to be photosynthetic and they released oxygen as a byproduct, which literally reshaped the atmosphere and set the stage for complex life. So, life basically changed the atmosphere, which is super cool because it used to be a reducing environment. Um, but in other words, microbes didn't just join the web of life, they created it, they spun it. Um, so that today, in this day and age, that web is all about flows of energy and of matter, and microbes manage both. Um, so as far as energy goes, photosynthetic microbes will capture light and break down organic matter and release energy back into ecosystems. And then matter flow, microbes move elements through biochemical cycles. So think like the Krebs cycle and ATP synthase, carbon fixation, um, the nitrogen cycle, etc., etc. And of course, we have the nitrogen fixing bacteria. Um, so yeah, if you've eaten something today, you've benefited from microbes in your gut, because without them you could not eat anything. um, so in terms of the theory of evolution, like why do we use that word? Excuse me. Microbial evolution explains new traits and how they appear and spread across populations. In science, a theory isn't a guess; it is um, all but true, right? Um, it's a well supported explanation. So it's been tested over and over again, and the results come back the same to support the evidence that it's true. And so the phylogenetic tree um, is, in essence, a theory. Um, like the whole thing would be a theory, and it shows relatedness in history. For microbes, this is an extra interest. This is extra interesting because horizontal gene transfer blurs the lines of species and lets genes jump across lineages, which changes how we classify and name them. Speaking of naming, we use the binomial nomenclature, genus species, because this consistent names help us connect traits, right? Um, and we use this across the web of life. You'll see it constantly all the time. So we're Do humans fit in the web? So microbes are ubiquitous in soil, water, air, in and on us. You have your own microbiome. We all do. And most of those microbes are not pathogenic. They're part of the normal physiology, impacting your digestion and immune system even. And the same could be said for plants and animals as well. We all have it. And so, um, and as far as immunity goes, it's even like other microbes, uh, keep the others at bay. So, like, pathogenic microbes are just one part of the story. So, because microbes run in the essential chemistry of life, humans have learned to work with them. Um, so that's why we were talking about earlier the bread, the beer, the cheese, um, in earlier classes. It's how we've come to use microbes for our own benefit. Um, but yeah, so essentially, understanding the web of life tells us why we use the tools we use and what to look for. Um, when we culture microbes, which we'll presumably do in lab, um, we're asking where does it sit in the web, the tree of life? What does it eat? How does it grow? What does it interact with? When we talk about control, disinfection, antibiotics, vaccination, we're talking about altering relationships in that web to produce the host without wrecking the ecosystem inside or outside the body. When we learn about taxonomy, the three domains, bacteria, archaea, and eukarya, we're learning that the map of the web, we're learning the map of the web so we can navigate it, if that makes any sense. So the web is dynamic. Evolution, including gene transfer, constantly rewires connections, which is why classification and naming does matter. And we're participants and not just observers. So our microbes, our technologies, and our public health choices all change the web, and the web changes us. We also see this with a lot of parasites that, the coevolution kind of thing. And if you ever heard of like over penicilling something, that could, potentially be your worst nightmare. Honestly, to have a whole bunch of bacteria resistant to penicillin. I don't even want to know that future. So it's kind of scary. Um, but that's kind of the point, is that the tree of life and evolution go hand in hand. Um, so as we head into microscopy and culturing and later topics, um, keep the picture of the tree in mind. Microbiology isn't just individual microbes. It's the study of the relationships that make all of life work. Um, and microbes are not just on the web of life, they are the web of life. So thank you for sitting through my jibber jabber. And next time I'll do better. Oh my goodness.